Welcome to Mom Matters. I'm your host, Alyssa Dver, and in the next 10 easy-to-watch minutes, we're going to give you some really practical tips for more productive parenting. Today's show is Mom Sense, how to take control of your financial future. And joining us is Angela Rizzolo. Angie's been with the Women's Bureau, which is part of the U.S. Department of Labor, and she's been there for over 20 years.
Yes.
During that time, you've developed some fantastic programs, including the Wise Up program, which we'll talk about today. And all these programs are developed and designed to empower women in the workplace. So really inspirational work, Angie. And along with that, she's also a single mom raising a wonderful daughter who's 8 years old that I adore. So thank you for being here tonight, Angie.
Thank you for having me.
I know there's been a lot of research that your organization has done to really expose the fact that women do not typically take control of their financial future. Why is that?
Well, I think in this day and age, women have so many things that they're doing. They're moms, they're career women, they're heads of households in many instances, and I think one of the things that we just don't teach young girls is how to grow up to manage their finances.
That's right. And what are some of the ramifications that you see when women don't take control of their finances?
Well, a lot of times, as they're growing older, they haven't put aside money for an IRA, for individual retirement accounts. Women, by their own nature, are very good savers because they're nurturers, and so they do save for family household items, they save for vacations, for the mortgage, but they don't seem to put away any money for themselves.
And what happens, I mean, I hear about these stories of women who all of a sudden find themselves widowed or divorced, and all of a sudden they don't know what to do.
Yes. That's an unfortunate part of life, I think, because women, because they've always been the savers of the family, they've always put the family first, and the children go off to school or they go off and get married, and a couple look at each other and suddenly they're divorced, and the woman finds herself without any money.
Yeah, it's very sad, and our parents are all living longer, so they're not able to take care of us as much either.
Exactly.
These days, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those days are gone where we used to be able to just tap into your mom or dad and say, can I borrow the room for a couple of months while I'm saving up money for a new car or whatever. We don't do that anymore.
Well, I find it really interesting that still to this day, I don't think there's a lot of financial education in the school systems. Even going to college, I mean, I went to business school and we learned all kinds of finance about boardrooms and how to run public companies, but not about our own, checkbooks.
Absolutely.
Do you see that changing? Do you see more and more finance reaching down into women and then subsequently our children?
Well, there are a lot of programs out there that are really trying to tap into Generation X, women who are basically 22 to 35. Our program at the Women's Bureau literally covers women who are 17 to 47 and really teach them the basics of money management, budgeting, credit and debt, and saving for their future.
Excellent. We're going to take a quick break and get a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to get some of those really great tips right here on our tape here that you can learn so that you can take control of your own financial future.
Hey you, yeah you, surely at your computer. Okay, I know you got stuck with the lemon. You need a reliable car. And I know you hate dealerships and pushy salespeople. I know you don't know much about cars, or sales agreements, or financing, or maintenance. But that's why you need to go to AskPatty.com. Now these gals have made AskPatty.com a safe place for women to get advice on all things car-like. So go on, type it in right now. AskPatty.com. And do me a favor, quit putting those sticky notes on my screen. They tickle.
Welcome back to Mom Matters with Angela Rizzolo. We're talking about taking control of your financial future. So Angie, now we're convinced we need to do this. How do we go about it?
Well, the Women's Bureau has an online program called Wise Up Woman, and you can basically access it through our website, which I'll give you in a couple of minutes. But it's basically a financial management tool. There are 8 modules running anywhere from basic money management to actual financial looking at your finances, looking at your IRAs, looking at any of those kinds of things, and budgeting and credit and debt. So you can do any of those modules, or you can do 1 or 2 that are particular to your situation.
Excellent.
And they all have, it's all online, it's all free. You could do it at 2 o'clock in the morning, you could do it at 8 o'clock in the morning, whenever you feel the need to really look at your finances.
Okay, great. And why don't you go ahead and give that URL so
Our
our viewers can
website
take a look.
is www.usdol.gov/Women's Bureau, or you can access it through www.wiseupwoman.org.
Excellent, and we'll put those for sure on the video as well as our blog. I find that the history and why you started this whole program is fascinating. Tell us a little bit why this even got started.
Well, we actually went around the country and found a lot of women were just not really looking at their own personal finances. We also took off from a little bit from the White House Conference on Women, who had one woman get up and testify up in Maine that she had been married for 30-odd years, and suddenly she and her husband were faced with a divorce. He took all the money and left, and she was left with nothing. So she really needed to recount how she could put together some financing. We also looked at women from all kinds of demographics. We looked at educated women, we looked at low-income women, and women who had very high-powered jobs. Even those women were not saving for their own retirement, and they should know better. You know, so we really wanted it to be an easy, quick fix for people so that they'd be able to get the tools that they need for financial management. And once they got those tools, they can look at other areas, perhaps more local, like the consumer credit counseling for that.
Excellent. That's wonderful. I want to thank you again for being here. It was really interesting, and hats off to you for doing such great work on this. I want to welcome all our viewers to view our previous shows on our blog, and that address is http://mom-matters.blogspot.com. I want to tell you a little bit about our future upcoming show, which is called Beyond the Lemonade Stand, and that's how we can teach our kids to be more entrepreneurial. So somewhat related to what we talked about today, hopefully building stronger financial futures for our kids.
Absolutely.
So for today, this is Alyssa Dver for Mom Matters, where we're teaching you some really practical tips for productive parenting.